Donc lorsque je flingue, c'est toute ma putain de nation qui flingue avec moi. Tu vois ce que je veux dire?
Welcome back, everyone. This is Puda with 3 rounds. Coach Terry, he might join us in progress. Just had some things that are tying him up, so hopefully we'll see him on in a little bit. If not, it'll be just myself. And today we're gonna go out to New York, Rochester, New York, to be specific. We're going to talk to a champ who's competes in the junior male division. You see him often at some of these tournaments and nationals. It's definitely a name you should be looking out for. So let's go ahead and get it started. Bring the champ in. Hey, champ, how we doing?
That's good. I'm doing good.
There you go. Hey, first of all, appreciate the time you taking to talk to us here for a little bit. We were actually going to go on yesterday, had some stuff happening, so you being a good sport, you decided to make it out today, and here we are. So first thing I want you to go ahead and say is give me your full name, city and state, and the name of the gym that you train at.
My name is Fynest Cummings, Rochester, New York, gym Jackson Art Center.
Jackson Art Center out there, Rochester, New York. All right, first question I ask everyone is, how do you get started? How did you get involved with boxing?
Well, when I was younger, my dad, I was like at least like 2 or 3. He brought me to a boxing fight, and he saw that I was like I like doing it, so yeah, brought me to a gym, and I started from there.
Okay, so early on, so I'm assuming you were in the gym early and started to compete right away at the Pee Wee level. Is that what happened?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so walk us through that. Because especially I've known some kids that you had to wait till you're a certain age to actually compete. So you do a lot of sparring or just training.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit the difference between just kind of being in the gym and getting ready to actually competing and just how the different atmosphere. So how do you do in that first bout?
Well, my first bout, it was kind of so I wasn't like kind of used to it. Like my first bout was like in a tournament, so I
Oh,
had to I had to get ready, and it was kind of wild.
what was the outcome? What ended up happening?
Yeah, I had one, but they had gave me the tournament because I was the youngest. I was supposed to be in 9, but I was only 8 still.
There you go. There you go. So, how did that like the next day? Like, were you in the gym right away? Like, did it get you excited? Like competing, winning? Like, did you just get right back in there and did you continue competing right away?
Yeah, I continued competing. Had a couple fights after, and then kept going to tournaments.
Okay. All right. And how many fights do you have so far?
Um, at least around like 100.
Ooh, okay, so very active. You're just in the junior division, because nowadays you get to the elite. A lot of these boxers have 100 plus bouts, and you're already there. Do you have a bout that stands out to you? Because you're usually in a weight class where there's a lot of top talent. And any bout that stands out, good win, maybe one that you learned a lot from.
Yeah. I say when I was younger, going against Marcus Luther.
Oh, okay, okay. And what stood out about that bout? What do you remember about it?
Well, it was like a new style of me fighting. I was usually fighting people that just rush in. Now I got used. Now I had to change it up because person that box.
Okay. So when did you start noticing that? How did you start changing where initially, when you're younger, you're just in there throwing punches. When did you start kind of, okay, you know what? I got to think about it. I got to set up things. Like what age grade like age level did you start doing that and what did you start doing?
Uh, I think I say around like when I was like 10, 11. That's when I started getting into the boxing, throwing more jabs, combinations, keeping my distance.
Okay. All right. And uh when you first started, so you started so young, so it was probably just normal being in the gym all the time. But how did you know tell me about
Yeah.
the goals, when you started off then and how have your goals changed now as far as what you want to do in the sport?
Well, back my goals was it was a world champion, be a world champion. Now it's still the same now, but I added I want to go to the Olympics too.
Okay, with the Olympics, being in a little bit of question marks because the international body, there's some issues there. We got a world boxing that's kind of trying to establish itself. How big is the Olympics for you? Say you were at a time where you kind of had to make a decision, and maybe there's no Olympics, or you had to wait another 4 years. Is the Olympics that big of a goal that you may stick around a little bit longer than you might want to, or if you had that opportunity to jump to the next level, would you do that?
Um, I think I'll stay the 4 years to go to the Olympics.
Okay, and what grew that inside you? Why is that goal that important that maybe just slowing down your pro, jumping to that pro level? What is it about the Olympics?
I feel like it's a big thing to like be in an Olympics, having that opportunity just to be in the Olympics.
Uh, and well, unfortunately, at the junior level, they're not. You know, when you make the team, you don't have an international tournament so you guys can compete with. How soon are you making that transition over to youth? How much time do you have at the
Um,
junior level?
I got till December.
So December will be the first time you'll be competing at youth, uh,
Yeah,
and that's where it start. You got more time. Um, because I want to say at nationals back in Lafayette, you were competing at 125, but silver gloves, I think you jumped up to 132. Is that kind of
yeah,
where you're going to
yeah,
be? Okay. Uh, Tell me about just that weight management. A lot of people kind of have a love hate relationship with that, just because people want to eat, but then you're going to make weight. Was it a
yeah.
case of it was just too much weight the keep at 125?
Nah, so cause right after the tournament at Lafayette, we had our silver gloves is like that weekend right after. So I just said we just gonna go up. Forget
Okay.
about like doing the weight. We just got done doing it, so we just gonna go up.
Okay. And how did you feel? 132 from 125. It's a little bit of a jump. Did you feel good? What was the biggest difference you noticed at the higher weight class?
Well, I noticed like where my power at. So in my weight, I have more power in my weight now. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. And I've seen you compete several times. Coach Terry, co-host, has also seen you compete. But if somebody hasn't seen you in the ring, what kind of a boxer are you? What's your style? What are you trying to do when you go through those ropes?
well, me, I'm kind of like a little counter puncher, laid back. But like when I gotta like push the gas, I'ma push the gas.
Okay. So that's your preference when you go in there. You try to kind of bait them in, or trying to set up some sort of counter shots, and then sometimes when you see that, and your opponent also has the same type of idea as far as being a counter, is that when you kind of switch it up and maybe attack and do openings? How are you if
Yeah.
when your opponent is trying to do the same thing? How do you try to figure that out?
Well, usually I use feints or like stay in the inside.
All right, you if you go on your Instagram, you'll definitely see some clips where you do both. You have a long frame, so you definitely use that jab and that check hook to your advantage. But when you got to sit down, you definitely do that as well. Uh, you know, when you're looking ahead as far as getting ready for a tournament, it's one thing to compete at a local show or a smoker or something. When you go to
Yeah.
that next level, that national level, uh, you know, how's that training camp? How do you get ready for that? Because the opponent that's across from you wants the same thing. They want to be at the end with the podium. How do you get ready to make sure that you're the last one standing?
Usually we go rounds of sparring, um, having that good mentality of winning.
Uh, did you kind of have that confidence kind of already, or did you kind of have to grow through your boxing journey? Because it's easier to say you just get a little bit of confidence. It's a little bit harder to actually kind of put into motion. How do you deal with that?
Well, at first, I like when I was younger, I didn't really have the confidence of doing boxing. And then like once I got older, I started seeing my skills and like how good I am. So that's when I started taking it serious.
Okay, all right. Walk us through a typical day for you. I'm assuming you're managing, kind of balancing school and gym and doing all that stuff. So, walk us through just a typical day, and how does it switch up when you got a tournament or some sort of competition coming up?
Well, usually I'm up in the morning, 5 o'clock, pull-ups, push-ups, dips, and then go to school. And then right after school, I got basketball practice. Right after basketball practice, I'm at the boxing gym.
Okay, all right. And I was going to ask you about that. I saw some clips of basketball in there. Is that Have you been doing basketball since real young, or how long have you been involved with that?
Uh, yeah, I used to do it when I was a little younger,
Okay,
yeah.
and uh, is that because boxing, unfortunately, they lose a lot of talent to different sports, right? You go to the South, football is
Yeah.
king. You go anywhere else, and you got some of these sports that are kind of part of the school system, so it's easier to get involved and kind of do all that. When it comes down time to making the decision, boxing or basketball, do you already know what you're going to choose if whenever the decision comes your way and you have to make your mind up?
Yeah, I'm usually gonna pick boxing because like I'm okay with basketball, but I'm really not there yet.
Okay, okay. And what is it about just boxing in general? Like, I know you've been in the just the atmosphere, you've been in the gym and just kind of been about that boxing life, but what is it about the sport that makes you come back and keep training, try to get better?
Usually I come back from like the losses I had. So like if I come back bad losses, I come back, come stronger, have that motivation, seeing how I lost and get better at it.
Okay, and great. That's a great point. One things that we like to just talk to young boxers is it kind of relates to that mental strength and dealing with some of these setbacks, be it a legit loss in the ring or maybe a decision just is just a little strange, kind of just leave you scratching your head a little bit. But you know how are those rides home? You go to these tournaments that are week long. They happen multiple times per year. You take time off from school, do all that stuff. And when you go through the tournaments and maybe you don't get that outcome, what are those ride home? What are those conversations with coach and all that?
They it's positivity. So like if I had a loss I thought I could have won, we just gonna bounce back, work harder in the gym and keep going.
Are you right back in the gym like that next Monday?
Well, it depends on how far I make it. Like if I'm like in the finals, I have that couple days off and then right back in there.
Okay, there you go, there you go. And when you go to these tournaments, like I said, they're week long. You're usually in a pretty dense bracket where you have to be competing multiple days. But do you when you're not competing, do you try to go to the stadium or the venue and try to see other boxers, see what they're doing, and if you do, is there any boxers that you try to keep up with in the amateur circuit?
Yeah, we do. We have a little game plan, on what we gonna do, how we gonna execute the game plan, and if the game plan not working, we gonna switch it up.
There you go. There you go. Real quick, this is 3 rounds live, number 171. We're talking the Fynest Cummings out of Rochester, New York, competing at the junior male 125 and now 132 division, and trains out of the Jackson R Center boxing. Tell me a little bit about the gym. Has this been the gym that you've always been at? And uh, who are the coaches that kind of help make up the staff? And do you have any other teammates that travel with you when you go to these national tournaments?
Yeah, so the gym it's like it's a rec center. So I didn't start there. I started at Future Boxing. And then After that, we went to Fight Factory,
Oh, right. Coach Nolan, right?
and then since then, yeah, and then since COVID had shut it down, we have started going to Jackson Art Center.
Okay, all right. And do you have? Is there any other boxers that compete at a national level like you do?
Yeah, yeah. We got Javier Mitchell,
Oh, okay.
um, uh, Dustin Jimenez.
There you go. There you go. And those are, Dustin had competed at the trials, right? Being the youngest there. Are you, you know, kind of lean on them to kind of pick their brains a little bit, because they've been in there. They try to get to the you. You eventually want to compete at Olympic trials. Are you trying to kind of feed off what they're doing, what they've done, and see how that can help you on your journey?
Yeah, so I could see how it worked, how it's going, and then use my skills and do good at it.
Okay, all right, there you go. And this sport is extremely demanding, right? It's a very jealous sport. If you want to get better, you got to be in there. You got to keep sharpening that tool. You still got to keep going in it. uh, but then it takes you away from like social activities, right? You got turn. You can't eat, right? You trying to eat.
Yeah,
They. I don't know why they make the tournament right after Thanksgiving, but nobody can eat at Thanksgiving. That's a boxer that's competed at nationals. But uh, do you in your mind, how do you convince yourself, or not convince, but know that all this sacrifice, all this stuff that you can't be involved with just yet because you got these goals that you're trying to reach. Uh, do you feel like all that sacrifice is going to pay off at the end?
yeah. I think it's gonna pay off. All the skills, all the work we putting in the gym, it's gonna pay off.
There you go. There you go. And you know, even if we had boxers that just love the process, right? They love training, they do all that stuff. But there's always sometimes where, especially in a long training camp, or maybe after a tough loss or a setback, where maybe you don't want to get to the gym, or maybe you don't want to put in those extra miles. How do you keep yourself focused? How do you keep yourself on track? The get to where you want to get.
I keep myself on track by just looking at the end goals, looking how I'm gonna end doing this boxing sport.
There you go. Just trying to uh, get to the point. And you said some of those goals include the Olympics and pros and all that, and just kind of having those within reach, because you compete against the best in your weight class. You're usually seated pretty high up in the brackets, number two or whatever that is. So you're definitely in the right spot, kind of getting that just getting yourself set up, especially going into that youth division. Tell me a little bit about the boxing scene where you're at out in Rochester. You guys do a lot of shows. You compete there often, or just give us a little sneak peek as to what the amateur scene is out there in Rochester, New York.
It's like it'd be a couple of local fights, but like me out here, I could really get fights from out here. Like only time like I could get a fight is like somebody from like not New York.
Oh, okay. So just somebody out coming in. So it, so when you're preparing yourself, not bouts necessarily, but when you're looking for sparring and some of that stuff, do you tend to you have to get on the road to look for that, or is there enough kind of a mixture of boxers and different ages around your weight class that you're able to stay around your gym, or do you have to go out for that sparring?
Well, now we usually stay here now because I'm starting with pros now. So like I'm sparring from pros from out here, New Buffalo and Syracuse and stuff.
Okay, there you go. And tell me a little about that. Sparring with pros. What have you noticed? You know, just being in there with a pro, even though you just sparring, but what's pace is obviously something that we hear, but in your experience, what's that difference when you spar a pro to competing or even sparring with amateurs?
Well, at first I had the little nervous sparring with pros and stuff. So like since then I've been kept going. I've been getting used to it now. So now I'm not as nervous as I am now.
Do some of those pros, like, after you put in work, are they coming up, up to you? Are you coming up, up to them and trying to see how, what they see, try to give you some pointers and just some things to work on?
Yeah, they come up to me and tell me what I'm doing good at and what I need to work on and stuff too.
Okay, definitely. That's with the amount of time, like we said, that this sport takes. There's no other option but just you gathering all this knowledge, and if you have a pro there, they'll see some things that maybe it took them a while to see. So it's always good to just kind of lean on them, and more often than not, they're usually, really open about kind of helping that next generation, like yourself. So, uh, you know, since you've been in this sport since very young, do you see yourself eventually coaching, or because it takes a particular type of person to coach around, especially younger kids? But do you see yourself being coach finest in the future?
Yeah, I could see myself coaching. I usually I sometimes I help out at the gym coaching with the little kids too.
Okay, and like you said, I think 8-time or multiple national champion. So you've already collecting some of these belts. You see the trophies behind you and all that. Do you start? Are you starting to get some of the younger kids coming up to you and ask you, hey, asking you tips or whatever? And are you starting to kind of fill more of a role model type role for that younger generation?
Yeah, I feel like that role model because most my little brother he's starting to get there. He got one more year. He gonna start fighting too. So I still got that little role model thing in me.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And that's one of the things that we do note, especially when we start looking at boxers that are younger, bantam, intermediate. You start seeing a lot of those familiar last names. You see a lot of siblings kind of being part of it, and um, I'm assuming you would be excited to kind of see his journey and let him know kind of what to do because you already been there, and it's always good to do that. So, uh, like we touched on a little bit, this sport is not part of the school system, right? It's kind of you kind of do it
Yeah.
afterwards or before. But how has the school kind of reacted to that? Because I'm sure they notice when you're missing, for a week because you got to go
Yeah.
to a tournament. But are they understanding? Are they giving you a little bit of trouble, or a little bit of a hard time? How's your situation with that?
Nah, usually I notify the teachers before I go, like just like actually like today I notified my teachers I was going to the tournament for the rest of this week, so I won't be here. They told me what work I gotta do. Most of the work is on computer, so I just gotta get my computer work.
Okay, that's great. We just had Dylan Cologne on last week, and he was like, "Nope, they don't care. They creates all types of additional just grief because I don't know. They don't understand that it's another sport, and I can put any athlete that's a boxer against any other athlete for any other sport that's in a school. The work level is just that much different. So when you have teachers and stuff that understand, hats out to them because uh, it's demanding. It's demanding. So now, like I said, you just making that transition over to youth and then eventually into the elite. But so far, this sport, it there's a lot of negativity when it comes to boxing to the general public, right? They think, people getting hit in the head, this and that, and a lot of the negative stuff. But there's a lot of positive things that do happen because of this sport. Uh, what has boxing taught you about yourself?
Well, boxing it really taught the dog in me, so knowing like where like yeah.
Okay, just that confidence to really tackle anything. Is that what you say? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There you go, and that goes a long way, right? Even beyond or outside of boxing, right? Because you could tackle any task in any type of setting, but if you have that mentality, that confidence, you can overcome and really surprise yourself in a different setting, which is a nice positive of this sport. And say you had a younger kid come up to you, they're thinking about boxing. They're thinking about potentially, getting involved. What will you tell a young kid that says, you know what, I want to try this out?
Well, I'll tell them if you really try it out, and if you really like it, keep going, keep trying, stay motivated, do everything you could to keep trying to do the sport.
You know, what is the one thing you think somebody that wants to be a boxer needs to have? Like, uh, the skills and all that stuff that will come, right? That's drills, that's the
Yeah,
coach and all that stuff. But what do you think is the one thing that one trait that somebody that wants to do boxing should really have?
I think they should have the motivation.
Just yeah, and we mentioned it because uh, it's that why, right? Why are you doing it? It has to be
Yeah,
big enough because some of that time it'd be easy to say, I'm not gonna do this no more. But you stick with it, and then you start gathering all these trophies behind you, all these belts like you do have behind you, and real quick, out of all those belts and all the, which one is the one that you're like, most memorable to you, like the one that you really were, just the best one that you earned. Do you have a particular belt or a trophy that that's the one that you share with friends and parents? This is the one. This is the one that I really
yeah.
I'm proud of.
The my ringside belt.
Ringside, the tournament is no longer
Yeah.
part of it. And what was that? How many times did you compete, and what does that one stand out?
Um, I have that was really my first tournament. So it was my first tournament. So like I knew I really needed this one. Like it's my first one, so like I gotta get this one.
Okay, okay. Hey, everybody remembers that first one, so and it's definitely one that you're gonna definitely hold dear to yourself. So real quick, this is 3 round slab number 171. We're talking to Fynest Cummings out in Rochester, New York. Competes at the junior male 125 and now the 132, and you're just gonna go and get ready to compete. This week is the National Silver Gloves. You qualified for that tournament, and you'll be out there later this week. How do you feel? How do you feel going into the tournament? I know you posted up some highlights, so it seemed like you did real well in regional level. So, how are you feeling going into nationals out there in Missouri?
Oh, I feel good. I feel ready. Starting getting used to my new weight, starting to get back up there. So like me getting used to my new weight. Now I know where my power at now.
Okay, okay. And let's take me into your mindset real quick. Say you're getting your hands wrapped, right? You're a couple bouts out. Uh, you know, how are you getting mentally prepared? What's going on? How do you get ready to execute when you go through those ropes?
Usually I stay focused. I have a mindset of me just having my hand raised and they're at the end of the fight.
Oh, okay. So you kind of visualize it and then just bring it and make it come true. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. You got some music playing, or are you anything happening? You got headphones on, or
Yeah, no, I
okay,
got headphones. I'm good.
okay, okay. Like, uh, you listen to any particular music? Any music? We had some boxers that really need to get hyped up. Some that kind of need to come down. We had Matthew Knorr from Georgia, Team Lugo out there. He watches cartoons to kind of get in the mode. Like anything that you do, it's kind of gets you going.
Well, usually before the fights, I gotta play the game. I think that usually like get me there. I start to think like while I'm playing it, I start to think and just get ready.
There you go. There you go. So, uh, take us. I'm sure boxing is really, really, boxing is life 24/7. But when you're not in the gym, when you're not competing, what are you doing? What do you do outside of boxing?
Usually I go on like different sports like me doing basketball now.
Okay, so you're always kind of active. Either you're competing or and 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 say you have you say you're doing basketball and say you have to something is happening on the same day. What sport's gonna
Yeah.
what are you gonna choose?
Well, I usually I usually go with boxing because well most of this rest of these weeks we got games, so like I'm gonna miss it. I gotta go to boxing.
What does your coach say, man? Because I'm assuming they know that you box and the commitment you have to it. Are they okay with
Yeah.
it or
Yeah, they okay with it. They see how what my skill level is, so they okay with it.
there you go. Um, one of the things that I've noticed and just covered the sport and at the amateur level is I've seen some boxers unfortunately that start young, do all everything they got to do. They go to the OTC, make Team USA, but then they kind of burn out a little bit. They kind of lose, fall out of love or whatever that hook was with boxing. Is burnout something that you kind of try to prevent actively, or do you just kind of have that much love for the sport that you just don't even think about that?
I usually don't think about the burnout of boxing. I yeah, I can't.
There you go. There you go. You can't. That's critical. It seems like you have a good approach to it, and you know that this is for you. So was there, and you told me like right around 11 or 12 you started to box more, but was there a particular moment where you said, okay, you know what, even though you're doing the basketball, like boxing is for me. Fynest Cummings is a boxer. Was there a particular moment where you just just realized that this was your sport?
Yeah, I think when I was around like 13 or 12, I saw the skill level I had in this boxing. Me winning the tournaments, me doing getting all this medals and belts. So like I started like, yeah, I gotta stick to this.
There you go. And now that you're going to youth, the competition is very tight. The scoring criteria itself says that some of the bouts are decided by just a few handful of exchanges and just because the talent level is so close. uh, what have you and your coach noticed as far as how you going to start your separate yourself from your competition? How are you going to make it easier for the judges to say, you know what, no, Finest Cummings definitely won this bout?
Me using my power. Because usually when I was down at 125, I really wasn't using the power. I was just using just boxing. Now when I'm going up to that youth, I gotta use that power.
There you go. And adding that power to a very uh, slick kind of boxing. And your long frame too. Just a lot of good attributes that you have that you will be able to capitalize on. Uh, and take us to this past tournament. Um, you out in Lafayette. You competed at 125. You competed three times. Came out with silver. Uh, but just walk us through the tournament. Was sometimes we hear some boxers that get that first bout was a little nerve wracking, and you just kind of want to get out of the
Yeah.
system. Like, just walk us through those bouts and how you felt each bout as you went through the tournament.
Well, the first one, I felt like I had to get it out of me. So had to get it out. Got that first win. Then after that, I kept going. Second one, had to uh had to use my boxing the second one. That was a tough fight, the second one.
Yeah.
And then the last fight, I didn't get the decision I thought I had, but we keep working forward.
Right. And I think that second bout was DC boxer. I think it was Ashan Jenkins, if I got it right.
Yeah.
Tough opponent, and I saw some clips of it, and yeah, it's that you had definitely had to come out of it and get that when he was a seated boxer as well. So it's not like you're competing against experienced boxers. and coming out on top. And uh, how important is it for a boxer to understand that the journey of you're not going to win them all, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but sometimes it gets a little tough when you don't get that win. But how critical do you think is it for a boxer to understand that the experience is more important than getting those actual wins? Because you can build on experience and continue getting better as you grow and go to the next stage.
Yeah, like you said, you could use them losses, build up, use that motivation and to just keep on going and going.
There you go. There you go. And the it's a different generation that you guys kind of have now, as far as with social media being so just part of the lifestyle pretty much of everybody. How do especially going to the pros, it's about putting yourself out there, selling tickets and just being accessible. uh, you do put out a fair amount of content. Do you do that strategically? Do you just, or you just want to make sure you put yourself out there so people know what you're doing? Like, how, do you approach social media in any other way as far as getting yourself out there and getting your name recognition?
Yeah, really just post it, get my name out there, seeing how good showing people how good I am in this sport.
There you go. There you go. In an ideal scenario, next 5, 6, 7 years, what would be just the ideal scenario for you in this boxing journey? What would you have hoped to accomplish in the next, several years in your boxing journey?
Well, these several years, think I would I want to get at least past 10 nationals and hit the Olympics.
Oof, 10, that's within reach. You're already at 8, and you're going down to the silver glove, so you be close to picking up that next one there. And I think we're going to surpass
Yeah.
10. I think you're going to get past that, especially going to the youth and some of the elite and whatnot. Um, do you watch pro boxing?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you what's type of boxers that you watch? Because a lot of amateur boxers, you tend to watch pro boxers that kind of emulate or see what they're doing and kind of bring them into their own bag of tricks. What kind of boxers are you looking at?
I'm usually watching Terrence Crawford, Shakur, and Devin Haney.
Oof, you're talking about boxers with great just boxing. What type of things do you see from them that you can continue improving and get to that level and beyond?
Well, I use Devin Haney and Crawford the way they box, great boxing, and then I use Shakur on how like going forward, staying in the pocket, body shots and all.
There you go. Yep, it's and it's that combination, right? And you try to adapt. You want to be able to uh, be able to go from offense to defense real quick. And those are some great boxers that really control pace, control ring generalship, all this other ring IQ that comes into play, the setup punches and do all that stuff. So that's always good. Bring us into about um, in nationals, because recently we've been having open scoring. Does that come into play? Does coach let you know, hey, you're up or you're down, and does that come up into the strategy? What's happening between rounds?
Yeah, so in the corner we have somebody else while my dad in the corner talking to me, telling me what to do. We have somebody else telling me if I'm up or I'm down that round, and if I'm down or I'm up. If I'm up, I keep doing what I'm doing. If I'm down, we got to change the game plan.
Okay. Do you like knowing kind of where you're at and see exactly what the judges are kind of taking off from your performance?
Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah.
Definitely, because there was a little bit of resistance, but I think it's the way to go. Some of those question marks kind of go away a little bit. Maybe not so in a close bout, but at least you know that it's close. At least you know kind of where you're
Yeah.
at, and it helps. kind of fix that. So, you mentioned your dad, kind of being there, kind of sharing this journey with you, and every time you compete, you go to the middle, you get your hand raised, or whatnot, and you turn back, you see your dad there. You're like, how does it feel just kind of sharing this journey with him being right there in your corner?
It feel good seeing how happy he is, or how happy he good, how good I am, and how successful I'm doing in this sport right now.
There you go. And those are the type of memories and those things that they'll just stick with you and uh, stand out. When you have your own kids and probably box. That's probably what's
Yeah.
usually what happens in this type of scenario. So, uh, but how important is it to have the right kind of support system at home on such a demanding sport?
Um, it is kind of important. Because some people, if they really don't have the good support at home, they probably not gonna like the sport, no, not try to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. It just kind of adds, even though it's just a boxer in there with your opponent, there's really a whole team behind you that really helps you kind of get to that next level, and helps you push through, especially when things are not going your way. That which do happen, and that's where you got to be adaptable and all that. So but you said you have teammates that compete with you. You said your brother's gonna get involved as well. When you're not competing, you're looking at your teammates going at it or competing. Like, what are you screaming at the ring like instructions? Like, what? How are you when you're not competing? You got somebody else in there competing, but you want to make sure they come out with a win as well.
Yeah, so I'll be out there screaming, telling them what to do, telling them what's open, and see, well, I could see what's open, and try to make them capitalize and try to, yeah,
You get. I mean, sometimes someone get a little bit nervous because it's like you get more nervous when you see somebody else competing than yourself. Actually, and that's just kind of you have control when you're in there. You don't have any control when you're just kind of spectating. So,
yeah.
it's a different little animal there. So, is you said your dad's right there in the corner when you guys are in between rounds and he's giving you instruction. And see, there's like a couple of variations of coaches in the corner. You got some that are very animated, some that are very calm, some that are like shadow boxing in front of you. How's your dad in there?
He usually the calm, shadow boxing showing me the punches I gotta throw, and that's open.
There you go. There you go. I always that's one of the things that I like to see kind of between rounds is how animated some of the boxers get. Hey, this is an emotional sport, and especially when you have a connection like your son going in there. Of course, you got to get animated and do what you have to do. But uh, yeah, as we kind of start kind of gathering some of these final questions, again, I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here for a little bit. And real quick, just this Thursday, we're going to have Coach Khalil Harvey from Team Cartel come out and talk to us. Next week, we're going to talk to Carlos Johnson out of Nevada and Ulicias Buenrostro out of California. So it's going to be post National Silver Glove, so we'll kind of see their reaction and see what's going on. But where are we going to see you competing? I know you're going to be competing at the National Silver Gloves this week, but are you going to be out there in New Mexico, or how many times are you trying to compete this year?
Um, at least couple of tournaments this year, and then we added next year.
There you go. There you go. And then you say you're thinking of sticking right at the 132-pound division. Is that where you're hoping to land?
Yeah.
You go. So, uh, yeah. So that's all I got. One of the questions that Coach Harry likes to ask is if you had a magic wand and you can change anything in the sport of boxing for the better, to help the sport, what would you change?
I'll probably change on having the judges use a monitor to see the fights.
Okay, like live right there on the ringside. Give them a
Yeah,
monitor. Okay, all right. You know what? That will be something to consider. I think if they did that, they would have to lower the amount of bouts because I think it would take for a while. But yeah, having that in front of you to get some of these calls right is critical. You know, we saw some mishaps at the Olympic trials, and we saw where that went. But yeah, great point. Technology's there. Might as well give it to them, right?
yeah.
There you go. So, um, one of the things that I noticed when we posted that we were going to have you on is, just some people, making sure that tune in and check you out. So, you know, how does it feel just kind of having that support, that the community around you, they want to see you win. Uh, just how does it feel having that?
It felt good. It can That motivation of having people knowing it keep me pushing. They see me do great.
There you go. There you go. And you know, they're supporting. They want to see you win, and um, not only that, it's kind of having like a two different effects. You're becoming a much more polished boxer, but you're also becoming much more disciplined. Sticking with the sport is no easy feat, and you're right there, in it. Um, it's there's so many positives that are coming, from this sport, and then having the right team around you, is always critical, especially when you're kind of thinking beyond. You say you're sparring pros nowadays. When did you know the going pro come to you? Was that something you just kind of pictured when you were real young, or did you start thinking like, you know what, I'm gonna go pro? Because not every amateur boxer goes pros, but
Yeah.
was that something that came to you very quickly and said, you know what, I'm jumping over?
Yeah, it came to me once like I got like a little older.
There you go. Hey, everybody wants to go in on the ropes, hold that belt up, and hear those chanting. And uh, like I said, going into to your social media feed, you'll see highlights, and you see a lot of skill, right? That's why it's so exciting. It's good. It's always nice to get them belts and then trophies at bantam, intermediate, junior. It's always nice to have those. It keeps you in the gym. It keeps you training, but when you go into youth and elite, that's where some of those belts, especially in December, carry a little bit more weight. You got Team USA spots. You you know continue to sharpen your skills internationally and doing all that. If we fast forward to December, uh, you know, how are you going to make sure you get that youth spot come December?
Stay focused, stay motivated, and keep pushing, working hard in the gym.
There you go. Just straight to it. That's what it is. You remind me a little bit of Rashawn Lee, who was Team USA. The answers are very similar. Just staying focused, staying just on task and get to that point. And by the way, real quick, Vershawn Lee is going pro next month, so I'll be excited to see what he does at that level. So, uh, let me get your thoughts real quick. We have, what we touched on social media a little bit. We have these influencers that kind of are taking boxing and kind of using it to an extent. They have apparently a lot of following. They have pay-per-views. They got something coming up this weekend, and you got Jake Paul doing stuff with USA Boxing. What do you think? Do you have an opinion one way or another on how these YouTubers are using boxing? And they're getting paid very well too.
Well, I think that if they doing it, might as well keep going.
Yeah, do you think in the long run, what kind of impact do you think in the long run influencers and such would are going to have?
Uh, I think it's gonna be a good long run with them, because mostly people they see it on YouTube and they just gonna like it.
It just it will bring more attention to the sport is what you're saying. Hey,
Yeah.
that's one of the arguments or the points that a lot of people do say about it. But be myself, I'll just stick watching boxers like yourself and those that came up in the amateur game for sure, and I'll put them against anybody for sure. So uh, go ahead and give how can people follow your journey? Give out some of those. Where are you in social media? I know you're on Instagram, but where can people follow you and keep up with what you're doing in this boxing journey?
Well, people can follow me on I am Finest BTW. That's where you can see where all my content and where I put that work in, and they're gonna show it.
There you go, straight to the point. Fynest Cummings, junior male boxer, soon to go to that youth. I got to be excited to see it. A lot of skill. Go to the Instagram and see some clips here and there. Just a lot of uh, technique. The form is great. Just a lot of stuff. A lot of really good things happening there. Shout out to your dad and the whole team out there at the rec center out there. And you guys are doing good things out there. Go ahead and give out those shout outs, those thank yous to everybody that has helped you get to where you're at so far.
I shout out my dad, shout Coach TJ, um, Coach Munoz, and the staff and Jackson Art Center helping me out.
There you go. There you go. Straight and to the point. Finest, I do appreciate jumping on today. Like you said, we were scheduled for yesterday. Things happened, but I do appreciate it. And I mean, the sky's the limit. You got the belts to prove it. You're not afraid of putting in the work. You know that it's going to take work to get to where you're gonna go. And your outlook and your approach to it is also very key. You know that you're in there to get that experience. Can't wait to see you Team USA do your thing overseas and kind of get that kind of international type flavor into your own style for the end goal, which is going over to the pro game and pick up a couple world belts. I know we're going a little bit ahead, but say you sit in a table, right, and right across from you you have Golden Boy, you have Matchroom, you have all these pro boxing promotions in front of you. What kind of things are you going to tell them to make sure that they sign you to be the next boxing superstar?
Uh, I'll tell them I think they gotta know where my skill level at. Well, like I need to have I want them like I go pro. I want them big fights.
There you go. There you go. Hey, can't wait to see those big fights coming up. Finest Cummings, I do appreciate it. Again, Thursday, we're going to talk to Coach Khalil Harvey and see what he's doing, get his take on some of the things that are happening in the amateur world. Just a quick update. The selection camp is wrapping up, so pretty soon we'll see who is going to go to Italy. The vie for those spots because we have Paris Olympics coming up in the summer. We got the National Silver Gloves coming this week and weekend, which, by the way, there's going to be an Olympic trials bout happening there for the elite male 176-pound division with the boxer from New York there as well, Amir Anderson. So there's a lot of things happening. And then you said you're going to be out in New Mexico at the qualifier, the Open.
Well, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
But then we'll probably see you in during the year. You typically go out to the Junior Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Well, we'll follow you online and keep going. Again, I appreciate it, and that's all I got. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is the only podcast solely dedicated to amateur boxing. And we'll see you guys back on Thursday. Appreciate it, champ. You take it easy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.